If you struggle to grow your triceps or you want the very best movements to grow them fastest, in this video we're going to be ranking the very best and the very worst, giving them a score of G for the GOAT all the way down to D. We're going to go into the science and also the real life experience I've had coaching thousands of individuals on what actually gets you results quick. And most importantly, which ones I mainly include in my workouts and which you should as well. Now I'm going to explain how I'm ranking these. We're going to rank them on 5 main things. Number 1, the stimulus to fatigue ratio. So in other words, how much bang for your buck do you get? How much does this fatigue you for the amount of growth you're likely going to get? Number 2, the range and exercise profile of the movement. So does the movement from a science standpoint work the muscle for a full range? And does the profile of the exercise itself give you the best result? Number 3, learnability and consistency. Might seem like a bit of a 2-for-1 there, but learnability is how easy it is to actually learn the movement, and consistency in my thought process is how likely am I to get injured doing this? Can I consistently do this for years without it having a toll on my body? Because I want to be training a long time. Number 4, do I actually like the movement? Does it feel good? And have I had good results with it? And number 5, what has actually got results for my clients and what do they think? I'm taking their opinion into account because it's not just what I think, it's what works for a large sample size. And I've coached over 1,000 people, so I've got a pretty good idea at this stage. We're going to break this video up into 3 different movement types. Ones that stretch your tricep, one that fully shortens your triceps, and ones that work it in the mid-range. The reason I'm doing this is because you're going to need to hit the muscle in 3 different real sections to make the triceps grow effectively, so it's smart to break it up. If you don't do this, you won't actually understand the reason of why some movements are better than others and how to incorporate them in your program, which I'm going to break down as we go through this. So for example, as long as you do a stretch movement, a short movement, and a mid-range movement throughout the week, say for example you do push-pull legs, push-pull, and you hit one tricep movement on the push and then another on the other push day, you might want to put one in on your leg day. And the way you'd break it up is one is shortened, one is lengthened, and one is mid-range. And that way you're working your tricep for a full range and making sure you're going to get the best growth possible. Now, before we dive into this, I really appreciate the love I've been getting on the recent videos. It means the absolute world. So thank you so much. And look, with that, we're going to go straight into it. Just don't forget to drop a like, a share, and a subscribe. It means the absolute world. Let's kick it. Up first, we're going to go through shortening the tricep head, really fully contracting it, okay? So the first movement we're looking at here is a dumbbell kickback. On a scale of G to D, I'm gonna rate this on like a C. I think this is okay if you have nothing else but dumbbells. There's not really another way to shorten the tricep. So that's why it's not going in D, because if you're limited on equipment, it's understandable, but I just don't enjoy it. You get no tension at any part apart from the top. So that's why it's going in there. That's the best I can do. I'm being polite. Next up, we have a rope push down. I think this is a cracking movement, but the thing is, sometimes you'll struggle to get the range behind you and it can end up working that mid-range. So it's a bit of a middle ground. Here I'm going to give you an A. The reason being is because it feels great. It's good. It just, the movement itself, I've never heard anyone really complain about it. If you wanted to go to G, we would need 2 different ropes to get that full range. But for the minute, I'm sticking this one in A. Great movement. A single arm push down. I'm straight away putting this in the G. The reason being is I think doing an arm movement, single arm, you're holding the cable, you're able to get the hand fully behind you, you're getting a slightly better contraction than the rope push down. Usually the way the exercise profile, the cable runs along your elbow, like it runs along your full arm, and it just feels so good in the joints. This is such a good movement. It is the GOAT. It is one of the GOATs, one of them. I didn't really know where to put this next movement, so I went with this because your elbow is still behind you. I'm gonna go with bench dips. Do you know the ones where your feet are up? I think this is a great movement. If you've got limited equipment, it is really solid. You get a good pump. It can be a wee bit awkward putting plates on you as you get stronger. That's why I'm just gonna put it in the B tier. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. I think you just struggle over time to really overload it. And it's just one of the movements that I just find there's better variations. We're gonna move on to the mid-range. So this is the part where your elbow would initially not be high, not be behind you, in the middle. So first movement up here is a close grip bench. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I'm gonna put close grip bench in a C. The reason being is I know when your hands are close together, a lot of people feel this, but I find for myself and for a lot of clients, they get wrist problems, the pump isn't as good, it feels like shoulders are coming into place. So that could be a skill problem, but I think from a learnability standpoint, it's tough to get this nailed properly. Some people crush it, and if you connect really well with it, this is just my opinion and what I've seen, I just noticed that I grow triceps faster myself and clients doing more isolation work than that sort of compound movement that a lot of people would put here. Next up, we have diamond press ups. Gonna straight up put this in, it's gonna probably go D. I think a lot of people will get wrist issues with this. I think it's just awkward. I think there's 1,000,001 better exercises. If you're limited at home, you could maybe put it up to B, but for me, it's gonna go right at the bottom just because I don't enjoy the movement. I've never really got a lot from it. I think if you're limited limited, it's okay, but you're gonna struggle to overload it week on week. I do think if you were to do these long term, your wrists would really feel it. So that's the only reason I'm putting it in D. It's just something I don't enjoy. Personal choice. People are dying to roast me here. This is a bit of a controversial one. V-bar or straight bar push down. So we've got the elbows in front, we're pushing down. Now, a lot of people think I'm not gonna rate this. I'm actually gonna put this in the G tier. And you're probably thinking, what? It's a movement that actually is probably responsible for about 80% of my tricep growth. And this is a part of my body that I would say is, I wouldn't say too big. I don't think there's anything too big about me, I wish. But I spam this movement like lateral raises, and I just found that every client I give it to grows really efficiently. They're very rare to get problems, and you can continue to overload it. It's just one of them movements that it seems good, but when you do it, it's just excellent. So I'm putting in G. JM press, this is a bit of a different one. I didn't know whether this goes in lengthened or mid-range, but I'm gonna put it in the mid-range because it's almost similar to that of like a mixture between a skull crusher and a close grip bench. Now, the reason I'm gonna give this a C is because I think it is very complex. You have to move the elbows in a certain way as you do it, and some people will argue with me and say, but it's a great movement. It is a good movement, but I find that most people from a learnability aspect will really struggle to get this right. Even I do. And I feel like on the joints, the way it feels, it reminds me too much of close grip bench, and I'm not a big fan of it. So that's why I'm putting it there. Oh, then we've got dips. I think dips, if done properly, are fantastic movement. Like, they're so good. It could go in the length and it could go in the short, but from a mid-range perspective, because I do feel like this cracks, it's almost like a compound movement. I would put dips, being very transparent with you, if they're solely for triceps, I'd put them around the B. I don't think they're the GOAT. I don't think they're bad. I think they're a solid movement. You can swap in and out. You see some people lean too far forward and they bring in chest. I do think it's hard to isolate the triceps in a sense, but it's just one of the movements that feel good, and you feel like a beast when you got the chains on, you got the weights hanging off you. It's like you haven't blown the nuds in a month or two and they're just hanging. We have a dip machine, which I do think is a better variation. I think the right dip machine could be an A, but the only problem is what you'll notice over time is you end up getting to a stage where the weights get so big, it's actually hard to bolt yourself down into it. So I'm going to give this as well a B. I think it's a good movement. I think it feels great, but the only problem is it just doesn't feel stable a lot of the time. It depends on the machine. If it's the right machine, we could probably slide up into A. So let's actually slide up to A. We'll give it A. If you get the right dip machine, it's the GOAT. It's really good. Now moving on to the lengthened range. I think there's so much overhype in the fitness industry. I'm one for science. I absolutely love the stuff. But I think there's also where people find one study or a couple things, and it's like this new thing in the fitness industry where everybody jumps on. So everybody's just saying the lengthened range, the lengthened range. We want to train the muscle for a full range. It just makes more sense, in my take. So lengthened, first movement is overhead tricep rope extension. You'll see this a lot of the time. Depends if you lean forward or if you stand upright, and as long as you have the cable positioned at the right height, a lot of people position it too low and have to do this spinny ballerina thing. If you're doing that, you're going in D, because you're doing this weird spinny thing. If you do it properly, I think it's an A tier movement. I think it's great. I think it feels phenomenal. I just really connect well with it. I've seen great results with it. It's easy to set up. It's simple. After this, a dumbbell skull crushers. Good movement. I'm going to put it in C. I think if you've only got dumbbells, this could move way up, because it's probably one of the only ways you're going to be able to lengthen the tricep properly. I just think if you were to do it single arm, you could maybe move it up another bit, but for where I rank it, how often I do it, it's very rare unless it was really limited. I just think from a joint perspective, I always notice if people do this long term, their elbows crank. They always get tendonitis or something flares up, so that's the reason why I'm putting it where it is. We have a cross-body dumbbell extension, very similar to a dumbbell skull crusher. It's a movement where essentially we're a bit more sporty. If you put your hand here, I would give it a B. I think this is a movement, like, it's just like a better variation of a dumbbell skull crusher. So I'm just going to rank it ever so slightly higher, because you can put one arm here, bit more stable, it feels good, bang on the money. We have katana extensions. I'm going to give this straight off the bat a G. I think because the way the cable can actually align, it can run along your arm, so you're way less likely to get any annoyance on your elbow. It feels good, it connects well, the exercise profile is really on the money. You can do it single arm, you can lean. It's just, for me, it's probably one of the very best movements I've incorporated, and I have minimal to no elbow pain training triceps long term, which I notice a lot of people don't have. Like, one of the biggest things you see is tendonitis. You see issues with people's elbows, and it's not because they done one close grip bench session. It's not because they done one thing wrong. It's like the death by 1,000 strokes. Your tendons and ligaments don't flare up and give you issues because of one rep. People think that's the case. It's not. It's because you've been doing tough movements or an issue for 5 years. It's like your back doesn't go from the step off the curb, it goes from all the loading it's done over years. Oh, and then this is a bit of a different one. Cable skull crushers, movement you will very rarely see, but I'm gonna give it an A here. The reason I'm not giving it a G is because it can be a wee bit awkward, harder to learn, harder to set up. But if you've got the setup for this and you can get it right, this movement is superb. It's just a better variation of the overhead because you're stable. You're in a better spot. It could almost crank up an S depending on the individual, but I'm going to put it as A because the GOAT's the katana extension in my mind. So look, if I am going to tell you which movements, if I could only pick a handful, I would do. If I was going to do the shortened position movements, it has to be the movement I put in G there. It just simply has to be that single arm kale. I think that's one of the GOAT movements. If I was going to pick a mid-range movement, I would probably pick a V-bar personally. I know that's probably going to be controversial. For me, just having the elbows in front, you can really load. Maybe a straight bar person if you want to swap it out. That's the GOAT of that movement. And then for the overhead, it's got to be the katana. These are the three movements. If they're the only three movements I could do for life for triceps, I'm happy out. And they're probably the only three movements I've done for triceps for the last 4 years. I just rotate them with a little bit of rep ranges, playing around with maybe slightly different variations of it. And it's helped me grow really solid triceps in my opinion. Like I don't feel like these are a weak point by any means on me. I feel like if anything, they're one of my strongest body parts. So this actually gives me credibility for once. And the other reason I rate some of these movements higher than others is by the fact that you get a better stretch. They're more stable. You know, you're less likely to get injured. The likelihood of you getting injured doing a katana extension versus doing a close grip bench, for example, will also highlight why I've ranked them in this order. Yeah, but they're pretty much the three tricep movements I would do if I wanted to wham triceps in as fast as time as possible. Look, I really appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Big love.